Harbor's Cove, yeah, the ability that everyone clowns on and says needs a buff, just destroyed Cloud9. This wet paper bag of a smoke shield just knocked out one of NA Valorant's super teams. But how? This thing takes like 5 shots and it's broken. Did Cloud9 troll? Did they throw on purpose? Are they secretly cats and are just afraid of water? How did this powerhouse of a team lose to an agent with one of the lowest pick rates in the game? Well, Valorant's all about adapting, and when you refuse to do so, especially against DRX, bad things are bound to happen. In this round, DRX starts in a 3-2 default. Their plan is to create early pressure B main and rotate back to A to execute. This Harbor Cascade is great, as it blocks off almost every sightline from this right side of green. DRX also combined this with a Jet Cloudburst, an Updraft, and this greedy Viper Wall lineup. What this wall does when activated is give attackers an avenue to sneak through under green that defenders can't spot. This requires the enemies to either push through it, play off of it and give up the space, or put 2 people there. The pressure created in this default is high. Cloud9 are set up in a 2-3 hold. Jet and Viper are ready to fight for B main with a snakebite and a strong position from Jet behind these cardboard boxes. Killjoy's in A link holding mid with her bots, and Sova and Sage are on A. They don't think DRX are going to play near mid, so they choose to stack the mains instead. They respond to DRX's default by blasting a snakebite into B main and spraying the Jet smoke. Cloud9 countered the Viper and Harbor utility perfectly here. If the enemy is playing lurk smokes like this, you need to counter it by playing someone in front of it or using Sentinel utility. Speaking of, Killjoy waits for DRX's Viper to pop her Poison Orb and then places his alarm bot in the smoke. All of this pressure that DRX is trying to create has all been for nothing. Now Harbor and his friends group up in A main and get ready to execute on A site. After the Harbor wall goes up, he takes a zipline, deploys his Cove, and gets ready to plant on top site. But Zelsis has other plans. He gets one as they're trying to contact up into site and pops Harbor's bubble as he tries to plant. Now, the important part of this round is that Cloud9 now know that DRX is trying to plant up here. Keep this in mind. Once Harbor's high tide drops, trades come out, and Cloud9 are now in a 3 versus 1.
Fall back to another plan as that wave is going to drop, and it does. Buzz with 1, looking for Marco to get the follow-up, and he does do just that. Maybe beyond that would be a little bit too much to ask for, but we look at
the odds are stacked against RB, and if Cloud9 doesn't throw, this should be an easy round. But they do. Now, because Ye pushed up earlier in the round and kept Cloud9 in a position to stack A site, he decides to flank late in the round to try and shoot Killjoy in the back. Mistake number 1. Because Ye doesn't group up with his teammates, he now is giving RB a chance to take isolated fights to work his way back into the round. This is exactly what you want to do if you're trying to clutch.
Could be worthwhile, but 10 seconds left now, might even just try and get the extra ult orb. Denial coming through from Cloud9.
Ye falls and RB gets his ultimate. C9 then fumbles again and makes 2 more fatal mistakes. RB activates his lockdown. Vanity swings out towards Generator to try and take him down, but this is another 1 versus 1. Mistake number 2. Vanity falls, and that leaves RB and Leaf in a 1 versus 1 duel.
The lockdown gets dealt with, and now Leaf in the 1v1. Time on RB's side! It's a...
Leaf loses, and C9 starts this game in a rough spot down 0-3. How are they going to bounce back? Cloud9 are set up in a 3-1-1 spread, with 3 players this time fighting for B main. You have Killjoy, Viper, and Sage. Just like last round, C9 wants to play in front of these smokes to negate any pressure that they might create. They're also only 1 point away from 2 strong ultimates in Killjoy's lockdown and Sage's res, so this orb in B main is important to their game plan. Sova is posted up on Boiler, and Ye is on A trying to do damage with his Marshal. DRX are set up in a similar default to the previous round. They're conditioning Cloud9 by showing heavy pressure towards B main, then pivoting back to A for an execute. Cloud9 gets B main and decides to give the ult orb to Vanity, giving him his lockdown. This signals that their game plan is to try and play retake despite being on a low buy. DRX groups up and the execute starts.
But this is DRX looking in potentially full force. I'll hold my word until we see the full buys back and forth, but again...
It's here again where we see the same Harbor utility. This high tide makes it really hard to swing off Raptors for defenders, but even more importantly, they use the same Cove as the previous round. Now, in order to counter this top site plant, there's a few things that you can do. You can save your Sage wall for retake and wall either like this or like this. Both walls make it awkward for attackers to stop the diffuser, and it forces them to take fights. Another simpler option is to just have your Viper toxic screen cover the top of 410. When your team goes in for the retake, you put up the wall, tap the spike, and attackers are going to swing out to to spam the diffuser. These are the fights that you want to take, and these are essential to your retake. But Cloud9 does neither. What they decide to do is invest their Killjoy ultimate and place it near pipes to push back DRX even farther into spawn than usual. But this doesn't matter. DRX can just sit in spawn and spam the spike from afar. There's nothing blocking their vision. They also have the longer range weapons, there's no wall to break, and Viper's wall only covers the bottom half of site. So despite seeing Harbor try and plant top site the previous round, they don't adapt their Viper wall and pay a huge price in this round. But Cloud9 still has a lot of game left to adjust and punish this Harbor. After getting flushed out by Harbor's Reckoning on round 5, Cloud9 finally takes a timeout. Yo, yay. Dude, please don't leave the team. Dude, I don't know, man. This is pretty troll. Whatever, man. We can't afford you anyways. Wait, we can't afford you either. Cloud9 are set up in another 3-1-1 default. The only change this time is that Ye is over on B, and they're flanking fast. DRX show basically the same default once again. Harbor Cascade, Viper Wall, go back to A, you get the idea. The other 3 are on A, droning from Belt to allow their jet to scale up quickly, gather some information, and speed up this execute. So while DRX are executing onto A, these 3 from Cloud9 speed up their flank, and Ye pulls off some heroics.
Behind the wire. But you can see the preparations there. Ye's just going to be brute force and ignorance! And it's incredible again from Ye. They need this.
After this sequence, Cloud9 are up 4 versus 3. But once again, if you watched closely, you'll see that Harbor planted top site. Again, the Viper Wall has yet to change. And because DRX have the gun advantage again, they're perfectly happy taking these duels.
They need this man to heat up here if they want to find for anything. But DRX are holding. The plant's still in, and the final 2 were on the other side of this site. They haven't really questioned the plant just yet. First player spotted by Dice. The second will be noted in Zephyr. RB should be all too aware, but he's not. He's overwhelmed. Still going to try and close the gap here. Still going to try and get close by. Bud's going to be playing the seconds here. The crossfire is good.
If Cloud9 wants to make a comeback and avoid going home, they need to do it quick, because their window is closing fast. Round 8, DRX decides to change things up. They decide to send 5 people up B main and go for a fast B execute. Cloud9 in the meantime have a 1B, 2 mid, and 2A setup. DRX have picked the perfect site to hit this round. Harbor sends out his Cascade, Sova sends his Owl drone, and these combo really nicely. The wall moves forward and acts as a shield, so the Sova's drone can't get shot out. This utility combo makes it impossible for players to play in B main without either getting slowed by Harbor's Cascade or tagged by Sova's drone. And Jet cloudbursts and dashes out towards yellow just in time to clear out sight. In response, Cloud9 decides to activate their Killjoy's ultimate. They start a fast retake and force DRX to make a tough decision. Either back off and re-hit the site once the ult goes off, pick up the pace and go for a risky plant, or they could just use Sova's ult to counter it. DRX decide to go for the later, and Harbor wastes no time getting the plant down.
Try and get this down again inside the Cove. Lockdown destroyed already. Get a free plant and they'll get away with it. The Viper spit.
Now, I didn't show you this round, but if Cloud9 remember from round 2 of this game, they would know that Harbor places his smoke on the edge of the spike site so that his Cove barely leaks in and gives himself just enough room to plant, and his Cove can't get spammed. And if Cloud9 do decide to spam, most of their shots are going to miss because they'll be aiming for the default plant spot. If you combine this strategy with the fact that there's a Viper Wall, a Viper Orb, and a Cascade blocking all this vision, it's almost impossible to know where to spam this thing. Not only that, but you have the crowd cheering, your teammates calming, a Killjoy ult beeping, a Sova firing death lasers, and random spraying. All of this adds up so Cloud9 can never even hear the Cove go up in the first place. But despite all this, Cloud9 don't remember what they saw round 2. They don't break the Cove, and Harbor gets out pretty safely. With the quick plant, DRX are able to comfortably get into their post-plant setup and activate a Killjoy lockdown of their own. But with Harbor and Viper constantly alternating walls, a bombardment of Phantom Spray, and a big Viper fart cloud, Cloud9 have no other choice but to save into the next round.
RB happy to greet them with a smile here. Stacks the one to draw blood. Buzz by his side. It is a shutout. They've got to go away from here. They've got to get that save. You said it had to be flawless if it was meant to be even good for them.
Now at this point, DRX has all the momentum. Harbor's ultimate is online, and nothing is going to stop them. They scale up A with a Cascade, use Sova's drone, and within the first 15 seconds, they have the site.
Pressure coming through on B. And there's that ult we'll wait and see if invested. Counter ult from Leaf. And RB's already on the site, though, already trying to hunt him down, and RB is just rabid at the moment. He's shutting this down perfectly.
If you ask me, Harbor's ultimate is extremely underrated. It gives you so much information, makes it awkward for enemies to fight in, and it's huge. Just look at the size of this thing. Also, it's only 7 ult points. You can't beat that bargain. Cloud9 tried to stop DRX's fast execute with a Viper's Pit, but that's no use. Like I said, nothing is stopping DRX from taking the site or planting top site again. Like seriously, can we at least try and make it look like we're trying to adapt? Like maybe put a Killjoy Nano up there, maybe a Viper Molly, an Odin, or at least just change the wall that you're putting down. Like anything, please. It's just hard to watch. So once the spike is planted, DRX fall back and get ready to spam the spike on the post plant. They're confident this is the winning play because 1, Viper's wall is still in the wrong place, but 2, Sage used her wall to block off B main earlier in the round, meaning that Cloud9's retake is going to be impossible. But they give it a shot. They all 4 group up, trade out the jet, but then Harbor does something I've never thought of before. He decides to wall off his own team from the rest of site. Think about it. The only way Cloud9 wins this round is if they run a DRX and kill them. So with this Harbor wall, they can isolate top site, play back, and prevent C9 from running at them. They can spam the spike from a safe angle too. So if it wasn't obvious, there is literally nothing Cloud9 can do anymore, and despite being down 1-7, they save again. So I'm going to skip a couple rounds, but Cloud9 seemed defeated. The previous round, they died before the spike was even down, and then they lost to a post plant where the spike was planted, you guessed it, top site. They are frustrated, tilted, and need a hero to come save them from this Korean powerhouse. That's where El Diablo comes in. He's seen enough. In this round, Cloud9 start in a 1-1-3 setup, with Killjoy anchoring mid with a Judge, and Viper on B with a Bulldog, and half armor. Man, things are not looking good for Cloud9. But have no fear, Ye is here! With the support of his 2 teammates on A, Ye wastes no time pushing up into jail and getting 2 important opening kills. If Cloud9 want an opening back into this game, this is their chance. They can't blow this round or they will go home. So Ye sets them up in a 3 versus 5. Surely Cloud9 don't lose this round, right? Well, despite being down 2 players, DRX still has a couple win conditions. They have Harbor's Reckoning, better weapons, and Leaf, who at this point must be intentionally throwing because of this Viper wall. Oh, you can't make this up. So DRX uses Harbor's ult to clear out the site. They know nobody's there. And then you even see Harbor get ready to plant on default. But then he's like, wait a second. Why would I plant down here and lose when I can plant up here and win? Once the spike is planted, DRX drop back to once again use their smokes to isolate the plant spot and spam it. Cloud9 are trying to run up and kill them, but this Harbor wall and Cove allow him and his team to isolate all the duels that they want. C9 even put a Sage Res into this, technically making it a 6 versus 3 retake. But with this Harbor masterclass and 0 attempt at an adaptation from Cloud9, DRX run away with this game and send C9 to the nearest airport.